Powell River.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. And first, I just want to acknowledge the people of this territory, the Anishnabeg, for letting us continue to work here. We know that the history is not a good one, but here we are on their territory making the laws of this country. And I also want to take this opportunity to honor all of the missing and murdered Indigenous women across this country. We know as we look at what's happened in Winnipeg, this raw wound has been ripped open yet again, and we know so many people around this country are suffering. And I want to recognize and honor the hard work that they're doing just in every moment, surviving this history, surviving this reality now, and what that means. Madam Speaker, everywhere we go in this country, it is Indigenous land, and it is a very special relationship between the first people of that land and the land itself. I remember years ago speaking with the late Elder Ellen White from Snuneymuxw. I'm so honored that she took the time that she did with me. And I expressed my concern about the fact that colonization was continuing to happen, that so much of culture was lost due to the smallpox, to outlawing traditional practices, residential schools, day schools, and the continued taking of Indigenous children in apprehension today. And she told me that much of the knowledge was saved, protected, and hidden to keep it safe. And that everything that was lost came back in the children that were born. That they were the carriers of knowledge from the spirit world, so that really nothing was ever lost. And that had a really significant impact on me. When I look at Bill S-219, a bill to make January the 4th National Ribbon Skirt Day, this is what I thought of. How, in spite of everything, in spite of such a targeted effort to destroy the first people of this land, they are still here. And how the children keep bringing things back to our communities in so many ways. Indigenous children come carrying inside them this beautiful spirit that will not bend in the face of discrimination, hate, or shaming. So when we think specifically about this day, we have to think of Isabella Kulak, who at 10 years old inspired a movement based on the pride she had in herself, in her family, and in her culture by wearing a ribbon skirt to school. From the Cote First Nation in Saskatchewan, she wore her ribbon skirt to a formal event at her school. Sadly, an educational assistant made fun of her. Why any adult would feel the need to make a child feel small, I just never can understand. The pain perpetrated on children's bodies and spirits over history has never made any sense to me. Indigenous children for far too many generations continue to experience this pain and suffering, and I think collectively in this place we must all fight to make it stop.
Yes.
But this did not prevent Isabella from her own sense of pride in her family or her family's determination to support her. This moment of shaming was made into something powerful and beautiful. In solidarity, women and men wearing their ribbon skirts and shirts walked Isabella to school in January. And people from around the globe began to post ribbon skirt photos in her name. I remember, Madam Speaker, my Granny Minnie from Stillatin First Nation, who went to the Jack Residential School, used to always say to me, "We are still here." And I remember as a child not understanding what that meant. I just knew that we were here. And as I got older and learned about the history and what that meant for my granny, I understood that what she meant was no matter what happened, we just found a way to survive in those communities. And I have such deep respect for that. And I think, I often say to people when they express pity for Indigenous communities, I hope you have compassion, but I hope you recognize how powerfully strong they are because they are still here. So I want to just recognize those moments of solidarity, moments when we stand with Indigenous children and we hold them up and keep them strong in the face of so many challenges. And we know that the support of Isabella became much bigger than her community and spread across Canada. Her love for culture, family, and community made her famous, and I think that's beautiful. I am in support of this bill because pride of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis culture is part of the restoration of communities who have experienced genocide in this country, but it is also a significant part of Canada becoming a much better and stronger country. And, Madam Speaker, I can't help but think of my son, Henry. He comes from Hamalko First Nations, Coast Salish Nation, and of course those people always wore cedar. And I remember when he was a young person, he worked with an incredible, powerful weaver, Cheyenne Waters, and he made himself a cedar hat. But it wasn't made in this traditional way. He actually made a cedar top hat. It's beautiful, and it has a very important place in our house. And as he got older, he would wear it to high school on their Fancy Fridays. So every Fancy Friday, he would wear a suit or a vest and his cedar top hat. And I watched him walk with pride into his school and was really moved that that was part of his reality and his identity, and that he wasn't going to hide it. There is no doubt in our country, or in our children, there is no core doubt in them about who they are and where they came from. And we have to continue to fight for that to be a reality for all Indigenous children. They know where their territory is under their feet, and I am so proud of them. Honoring National Ribbon Skirt Day on January 4th is important, and I look forward to supporting this bill. Thank you, Madam Speaker.